Good evening, everybody. Welcome to MAP and this evening's talk, Evoking the Unsayable, a poet's take on art. In Marathi, there's an expression called Gadat Ahe, which means it is happening. I'm interested in that which is happening. The art I create is an antidote to what is happening around us. This is a quote by Jayant Kaikini, the poet, whose take on art we are going to talk about today. This event is a chance to hear from and learn about poet Jayant Kaikini in conversation with Pratibha Nandakumar from Ananya Drishya. Jayant Kaikini's poetry is characterized by subtle imagism, a minute documentation of the seemingly commonplace, a colloquial idiom, and a conscientious refusal to engage in any poeticizing. His stories often depict the richness of urban life, particularly in Mumbai, and reflect his own expression with multiple language, Kannada, Konkani, Hindi, Marathi, and Gujarati. He's fascinated by fleeting moments of experience, the happening, as he calls it, rather than focusing on the consequences of those moments. This talk is in collaboration with Ananya Drishya. We begin this evening's talk with a brief about Ananya Drishya by our dearest S.G. Vasudev.
Friends, I don't know that I can be heard properly because my throat is not very good. Anyway, I'll try my best to speak louder. This is the second program of Ananya Drishya at MAP. We started Ananya Drishya in 2006. The idea at that time, even now, is that there is very little program going on art. And so what we did was invited nearly 70 artists of Bangalore to do 2 paintings each. We gave them canvases. And we had a show at Venkata Art Gallery. And the entire show was bought by one person, Ravi Kavale. With that money, we are continuing to do whatever we could from 2006 onwards. What we do is we invite one artist and one moderator every month and spend about an hour and a half. And mostly it was a Venkata Art Gallery we were doing it till the gallery came under renovation. Then we shifted to National Gallery of Modern Art and so many other places. And finally, we have landed here also at MAP because we were asked by the authorities of the MAP to conduct Ananya Drishya programs here. And it was my interest in other fields other than art, which brought in, last time we had a dancer, Madhu Nataraj, to come and spoke about art and dance. And this time we have asked a poet, Jayant Kaikini, who refused first. He said, what should I talk about art? I said, art is everybody's business. It's not only for me, everybody's. And so he has come, and Pratibha Nandakumar, who is our old friend, she has converted, she was accepted to do the moderation and in conversation with Jayant Kaikini. I'm very happy that so many of my friends I see today have come, and it's very nice to see you all. Thank you very much for coming, and I hope you will enjoy this program, what Jayant has to say about art. It's very interesting. Thank you.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me? Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. This is a very unique program because usually now we have become islands. The artists don't come to literary programs and the authors don't go to art programs or the music. But in those days when we were young, there was so much of
We are still young.
intermingling. Okay. Okay. Thank you. For those who don't know about Jayant Kaikine, I know he's a legend and you know him, but you may not know all the details. His profile runs into 32 pages, roughly, or more than that. So with great difficulty, I have brought it down to one page, and I insist on introducing Jayant Kaikine properly to those who don't know him in all the details. Jayant Kaikine is a poet, a short story writer, playwright, essayist, columnist, lyricist, screenwriter, dialogue writer, copywriter, editor, assistant director, production head, television host, program head, star interviewer, reality show jury, content advisor for TV channels, popular orator, and also an artist. And I can go on. His works include 8 collections of poetry, Rangadindindushti Dura, ಕೋಟಿ ತೀರ್ಥ, ಶ್ರಾವಣ ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ, ನೀಲಿಮಳೆ, ಜಯಂತ್ ಕಾಯ್ಕಿಣಿ ಕವಿತೆಗಳು, ಒಂದು ಜಿಲೇಬಿ, ವಿಚಿತ್ರ ಸೇನನ ವೈಖರಿ, ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಮಳೆಯಾಗಿದೆ, ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ಸಾಂಗ್ಸ್, and 10 anthologies of short stories, ತೆರೆದಷ್ಟೇ ಬಾಗಿಲು, ಗಾಳ, ದಗಡು ಪರಬನ ಅಶ್ವಮೇಧ, ಅಮೃತಬಳ್ಳಿ ಕಷಾಯ, ಜಯಂತ್ ಕಾಯ್ಕಿಣಿ ಕಥೆಗಳು, ಬಣ್ಣದ ಕಾಲು, ತೂಫಾನ್ ಮೇಲ್, ಚಾರ್ ಮಿನಾರ್, ಅನಾರ್ಕಲಿಯ ಸೇಫ್ಟಿ ಪೆನ್, and 6 collections of essays, ಬೊಗಸೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಳೆ, ಶಬ್ದತೀರ, ಟೂರಿಂಗ್ ಟಾಕೀಸ್, ಗುಲ್ಮೊಹರ್, ತಾರಿ ದಂಡೆ, and 4 plays, ಸೇವಂತಿ ಪ್ರಸಂಗ, ಇತಿ ನಿನ್ನ ಅಮೃತ, ಜೊತೆಗಿರುವನು ಚಂದಿರ, and ರೂಪಾಂತರ ನಾಟಕಗಳು. The books, his books translated into English, No Presents Please, and the latest Mithun number 2 and other Mumbai stories, which are available for purchase outside, translated by Tejaswini Niranjana. And some of his literary awards include Karnataka Sahitya Academy Award for the first award he got when he was 19, the youngest to get the Sahitya Academy Award, Karnataka Sahitya Academy Award, which nobody has broken yet, for Rangadindindashtu Dondishtu Dura. And followed by 3 times more for short story collections. And he received Kusumagraja National Award for Poetry, Dinakar Desai Award for Poetry, B.H. Sridhar Award for Amritaballi Kashaya, and Katha Award from Delhi for Amritaballi Kashaya. He has been conferred the honorary doctorate from Tumkur University for his contribution to Kannada literature and cinema. The big award is DSC Prize for South Asian Literature 2018 for his translated work, No Presents Please. And his Mithun number 2 and other Mumbai stories were shortlisted for the Crossword Book Award 2024. He has also received Karanta Balavana Prashasti in 2019. Sorry. And Bogasilli Male is a documentary on Jayant Kaikini, directed by Nitin Emma, scripted by Hindi lyricist Samvart Sahil. He was nominated 7 times, another record, and won 5 times the Filmfare Best Lyricist Award, a record of, for Galipata's, the details I don't have to give now. When we talk about his film songs, we can go into that. And Karnataka State Film Awards, Best Dialogue Writer for Chigurada Kanasu, and Best Lyricist for Mungaru Malai. These are just some of the information I wanted to give. To introduce Jayant Kaikini to the uninitiated into the Kannada world is a tough task actually. Just take my word that this evening we are in the presence of a legend. He's a legend. And we are privileged to listen to some of his thoughts on art. I think that with that introduction we can continue. To quote, thank you. I just want to read a small excerpt I took out from several of his interviews and write-ups about him. Kaikini is a seasoned storyteller and a true poet, contributing immensely to modern Kannada literature. His poetry is characterized by subtle imagism, a minute documentation of the seemingly commonplace, a colloquial idiom, and a conscious refusal to engage in any poeticizing. Propelled by an innate curiosity and a keen observer's eye, his narrative fabric is rich with the use of everyday life, capturing the fleeting moments and the quiet emotions that weave through urban life, seeing the everyday simplicity not just as a way of life but as a spiritual experience. His stories set against Mumbai's multifaceted backdrop dance through its languages Kannada, Konkani, Hindi, Marathi, and Gujarati, mirroring his own multilingual journey. I quote, "Each word I write is a step into the unknown, a process not of revealing what I know, but of exploring what I seek to understand. Unlike those who seek enlightenment in serene isolation, true enlightenment for me lies not in retreating from the world, but in embracing the chaos of life," he says. His uniqueness lies in his extraordinary ability to trust in that which cannot be said. I am not interested in what happens to the person after the experience. I am interested only in that moment. It is like sitting in a window seat in a public transport. You see something else in bracket outside yourself. In Marathi, there is an expression called ghadat ahe, which means it is happening. I am interested in that which is happening. Art is an antidote to what is happening around us. With this preamble, I want to ask him, why did he suggest this title of Evoking the Unsayable? So what is the unsayable?
It is unsayable. Yeah, it is means to be actually anirvachaniya. It cannot be expressed. You know, it has so many connotations. It can be said, but I can't say it because people are there. It can be said because, you know, it might hurt. I'm not talking about that. It is anirvachaniya. I mean, like, it cannot be said at all. So that is unsayable. So we are trying to evoke, to move towards that experience. Art when I say art, it applies to everything. It could be music, or it could be literature, anything. Ultimately, I think what we collectively trying to do is trying to experience life, trying to extend the experience. Yeah. Till now it was unhearable, I think. Fine. Like we evoke, I've written about it somewhere, I don't remember. See, drishya, when you say drishya, always evokes adrishya. Seen is there, but it evokes adrishya, which you cannot see. Shravya evokes ashravya, which cannot be heard, which cannot be hearable. Same way, vyakta evokes avyakta, which cannot be said. And medium like film has all of this. It has vyakta, it has seen, drishya, everything, all these things. So imagine what kind of immense possibilities are there. So ultimately, it's not about meaning. The problem is we are always stuck with that word meaning. You know, meaning. Entire life we waste in that word meaning. There is no meaning to life. Where will it come in art? See, like many people ask me, is there meaning in meaning? See, there is nothing like meaning. There is only experience. The point is that experience, that towards that experience, there is a collective journey. I think I mean that, like art is a window towards that experience. Each person's effort is a effort towards that larger experience. So, and it happens at one moment at a person's life, that kind of a thirst, towards that larger thing, beyond a self. So it might, for everybody it is there in a different way.
I know how you get irritated when people ask you to explain. You have often said that an artist explaining his or her art is obscene. An artist should not explain, that includes poetry also. Or when people rush to find meaning in any art, just now you spoke about that. You say that art is an experience. That is why we revisit an artwork, and every time it evokes a different experience. So can you elaborate on this context, in the context of what you said in that interview, that art is an antidote to what is happening around us? You must start with some striking incidents and people who influenced your aesthetic sensibilities during your early days in Gokarna. Because if we don't start with Gokarna, this talk will be incomplete.
Yeah, before I go to that, I must talk a couple of sentences about you. I must take revenge because you have talked so much about it. See, we are contemporaries because we started taking revenge on Kannada poetry together. I think we started writing together. And she was one of the finest minds in Kannada, writing poetry. And I met her first time in Mysuru, I think for a Kavi Sammelana, alva? She, as usual, she wrote read a brilliant poem there. But I liked her because after the poetry Kavi Sammelana, all the poets there, we decided to go to Chamundi Hill, something, for a picnic like. And she was also there. We asked her, are you coming? She said, no, I have to go to my friend's wedding. My friend is getting married. Madive reception, is there. I can't come. I said, friends madhve tane, nin madhve ella tane. Come. Then she said, nan madhve agidare khandita bartidde. I said, I think she is something different. So she can be a good poet. So that's how Pratibha was in my mind. And since then, and she has a knack for drawing also. Whenever she wrote letters, she used to draw some designs, line drawings along with it. Means she has a taste for art. She has a taste for everything. She has written poetry about K.K. Hebbar's art. She has written, translated. She has written.
This is about you.
No, about Vasudevji's book. So there is there's a marriage of art and poetry in her journey also. That's why I just wanted to introduce you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm very happy she is with us. So Gokarna is a very interesting place where it's great place for any person, because there is past, present and future, everything coexist. See, there will be a board where it will be like ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆಗೆ there will be, you will read ಬಗ್ಗೋಣ ಪಂಚಾಂಗ ಸಿಗುತ್ತದೆ, or ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಜನಿವಾರ ಸಿಗುತ್ತದೆ, ಕೆಳಗಡೆನೆ ಪೀನಟ್ ಬಟರ್ ಸೋಲ್ಡ್ ಹಿಯರ್. Both will be in the same board, because now suddenly tourism has invaded. I mean, like, just it's very interesting, nice. It's very liberal. Tourist places are always liberal. And when I was growing up, it was very interesting. Like we grew up with lot of amateur Yakshagana activities happening. Vivek Shanbag, who is here, will be seeing it. There will be lot of Yakshagana events happening where local people will play Yakshagana, like, a tailor, a school teacher, our, attender in the school, people from different walks of life, they will come and once in a month they will play Yakshagana. It will be a Mahabharata, Prasanga or anything. And I see Yakshagana play will be there after 9:30, 11 o'clock. But me and my friends, we are very keen on peeping into their green room. That green room was a very enigmatic thing, where, like a tailor comes, removes his shirt, and, keeps it this, and sits in front of a mirror, and starts, putting on his makeup. Slowly, he becomes Krishna. Another person comes, he is a attender who, rings the bell of our period every day. He suddenly becomes Bhishma there. Our mathematics teacher comes, he becomes Kamsa. See, they all happen, and when they are happening, that happens step by step. The face becomes Kamsa, but rest is in lungi only, like that. See, that combination, they were very abstract, abstract kind of frames that continued in my mind. And then once they are ready, they will go and search a place for this. It is very interesting. Like there were no, in small rural places, there are no, like washrooms for men, women and all. And they have to go and search open places. Imagine Krishna, Sudhanva, with this thing, what, Gajja, going and searching. And existential crisis is for the female Veshadhari. So these things, they stay with you for lifetime, because it is not just audio, it's a visual, and it evokes certain things. So this thing, and I was very fascinated by each teacher's handwriting. See, handwritings mean a lot. Every teacher, when he writes with chalk piece on the board, every teacher's writing sound was different. Because the stress while he writes on a letter used to be different. And my father was also a teacher. His was a different. He starts here and removes the hand only when he touches the other end. Means continuously. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೋಡಿ ಅಕ್ಷರ ಅಂತಿದ್ವಿ ಆ ಥರ. So, and we could even realize their aesthetics, like some chalks were of not good quality. It will have sand in it. It will make an odd sound, screeching sound. We were getting irritated. So some teachers didn't like it. They will throw it and take one. Some teachers will persist with it. And invariably they were mathematics teachers. So all this, see, that is a visual thing again. That handwriting and signatures, and we will follow some teacher's signature. That is one thing. I'll finish fast because otherwise we will finish only in childhood. That's why. I one more. What? Another thing was, I remember it was a Gandhi Jayanti, and one Dr. Jathar was there in our native place. Very famous doctor. Like it's a general practitioner. He was a good Rangoli, this thing. See, imagine, doctor and Rangoli, he was an expert artist. And usually, that dot Rangoli was very, you put dots and join. But this kind of freehand Rangoli was very rare at that time, like calendar art Rangoli. He was expert in that, because he was from Maharashtra influence. So he had put Gandhiji's Rangoli. So it was amazing. I remember ours was 9th to classroom. So all our desks were all removed, and he had put Rangoli. Holiday it was, no? It was lovely. So next day now problem was how to remove that. Because you have to remove it with a broom. No one was ready to remove it. I will never forget that moment. No attender was ready to remove it. No teacher was ready to remove it. No student was ready to remove it. ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ಅವರ ರಂಗೋಲಿಯನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಕಸಬರಿಗೆಯಿಂದ ತೆಗೆಯೋದು ಹೇಗೆ? ಯಾರು? ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ರಿಸಾಲ್ವ್ಡ್. ಇಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿಯವ್ರ ಚಿತ್ರ ಸ್ಟಾಫ್ ರೂಮಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಇದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ. ಸಿ, ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಟುಕ್ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಡೇ ಟು ರಿಮೂವ್ ದಟ್ movement. So again it was unsayable, almost there. It was not just a visual art, it stayed with me. So these are the things which stayed with me for visual aesthetics. Another thing, because it went with me in the childhood only, was the film posters in our touring talkies days. Because posters used to come in small pieces, and they used to put, every week there will be change on Friday. So they will cut posters. And it will be normal posters, I think, but they will send bad posters to small villages. Good posters in big cities. So they were not matching. One I will be here, one I will be there. Because they are come in cut posters, no? So I still remember, I think it was Jedarabale film. Me and my friend Neelkant was there, we were watching. There was one big python like Hebba thara ittu, with all wrinkle kind of a thing. We thought this Hebba will come there now. Then suddenly we realized it was CID 99 or Jedarabale. Jedarabale CID 999. It was leg of a cabaret dancer. So once it went there, we realized it was a knitted socks, and it went there. So till then, it was a different thing. See, these all abstract things. That is another thing. And the title cards. Title cards, the type, what do you call? Fonts. They used to be done in, I think, Madras at that time. They all were the same type fonts in Kannada. But I think it changed with Vasudev Ji.
Yes.
With Kadu. And not with Samskara.
Yes.
From Samskara and Kadu, he changed the font, he changed the visual graphics. Then Girish Kasarvalli's Ghatashraddha, Chandranath Acharya came. Suddenly the font things changed.
It happened with poetry collections also. For Adiga, for Gopal Krishna Adiga, Vasudev did the cover page.
Yes,
and
yes,
that
yes.
changed a whole lot of things.
And Hokkulalli Huvilla, A.K. Ramanujan's book.
Kuntobile.
Yes. All this thing. So, most formative age alli, film posters, the childhood memories, magazines and illustrations. These mattered a lot, and I think all big artists are here. I am just want to tell one thing. Writers are also there here. All love for art, all love for literature begins with popular magazines. And we look down on magazine illustrators and magazine writers always. Because I have seen, if at all my love for writing started, it is because of Sudha, Mayura, Kasturi, and all these magazines. Even my visual aesthetics for love started with G.K. Satya, Chandranath Acharya, Persa Kumar, Ra Suri, K.B. Kulkarni. Name them. I can still tell you which story, what image they drew. They used to draw for Dharavai novels. Every week, see, today graphically they can sustain. They will use same hero for 23 weeks. They have to draw him in a different position. We have to identify him. G.K. Satya created such images. Girls used to aspire for those kind of boys to come in their life. And boys used to aspire to come, I think, I hope they got them or not. It means those kind of impacts those illustrators have. And short stories also. Then we graduated to Sakshi, Sankramana, that is different. But we started reading short stories, everything with these popular magazines. Even in Marathi, even in Bengali, Diwali issues in Bengali, I think that Durga Puja issues, almost 400 issues come. In Marathi also 300 issues come. Kannada 10 issues come. I mean, like, they were the things which created visual aesthetics in us and reading habits in us. We should give salutes to all those artists. That's what I feel always.
Very nice. See, when I must share that about 45 years ago, when Jayant Kaikine started writing poetry, it was so new. The imagery he brought in his language. In fact, now there is also a term called Kaikini Kannada, because the way he uses his language. And the imagery he brought in and the metaphors he brought in were absolutely fresh, and it was so enticing that it was actually mesmerizing. And even if I just read out the lines from his poems, they sound like the paintings in words actually. And I had done so many collages and paintings for some of his lines actually. I still remember I sent him one collage for this line, ಗರ್ಭಗುಡಿಯ ಕತ್ತಲಲ್ಲಿ ಕೀರ್ತನಕಾರನಿಗೆ ಮಾರು ಹೋದ ಬಾಲವಿಧವೆ. So I had done one collage with the Garbhagudi, the temple doorway, with one young widow in red, her back, sitting there, leaning against the door and listening to the Kirtanakara. So all his imagery are so strong that it stays with you. So I want to ask you, in fact, next I wanted to come to this decorative art, See, you were talking about this illustrators and magazine covers and layout. Probably you're the only one who relentlessly talks about them, because in the mainstream culture world or the art world, what otherwise gets brushed aside because they are considered as falling under classifications such as decorative arts, applied art, or craft rather than fine art. What you just said just now. Likewise, if the skill is being used in a commercial or industrial way, it will be considered design instead of art. So some have argued that the difference between fine art and applied art has more to do with the value judgments made about the art than any other clear definitional differences. So what do you say about this applied art or the commercial art, decorative art or the design? Do you make any differences?
No. I don't know these terms also. But I like art, that's all. I like any earnest, genuine art. That's why Bhavana magazine, you're going to ask me about it, or I'll finish it now?
You can continue. I don't know.
See, that magazine called Bhavana, which I edited for a year or so, that was an effort to bridge this gap. That bridge is also a very cliche word. because no bridges live long, I have seen. So any bridge you see, there will be a parallel old bridge. Even bridges are also have to be renewed. So popular and serious, literary and popular. So always like Sakshi, Sankramana, Lipi, these were supposed to be popular, serious. And suddenly this Mayura, Tushara were supposed to be popular. So popular magazines were all sold in bus stands, and the serious were only, by subscribers. So I wanted, there has to be something. Why this difference? So Bhavana was planned. It is content-wise, it was quite a serious thing. And it has to be sold in bus stands. So it was packaged in a popular way. Like what you are seeing, all this. See, this is almost like a popular this thing, but content was quite serious. Like it had a poetry, it had social kind of a responses to the ongoing unsayable of the time. Everything was there. And there was a column called Canvas, where every month I had an interview with people. There were regular columns from like Vivek and so many new writers. And one thing I started, don't mistake me, I have to tell it here because that question is there. One thing is, usually every magazine have staff artists, usually, that is the convention, who are paid staff artists, illustrators. For the first time, like a magazine asks for poetry and short stories, I asked for the artwork from any artist from all over Karnataka. So, like I get poems and any literary things, I started getting artwork from all over Karnataka, right from this thing, even from Nasik, even from Bombay, whoever saw this Bhavana, they started sending, and then we were using it. I always felt that illustration world I never liked. See, illustration and underlining, see, already it is there. What are you there to illustrate? I always felt you have to complement it. It has to be complemented by something. It has to be amplified, whatever you call. So, illustration world, actually it simplifies. Sometimes people illustrate so much. If the story is about a missing spectacle, they will first draw a spectacle there, See, it's not that explicit detailing need not be there. Maybe in children's book it is required, or children's page it is required. So that was a thing. And I evolved a new word also. Again, I have to say I evolved, sorry. And I have to mention and acknowledge two people here. One is Apara. He has not come here. I requested him to come here. His name is Raghu. He was with me all through Bhavana. He was an agricultural postgraduate from Dharwad. He was looking for a job in his field, but I said, you come here, because he used to write letters to me, like he used to write with lot of designs, and Smita, my wife, told me, he used to write letter to you, why don't you call him? So he came, and he did lot of designing and layout. And we and Venkat Lakshmi, she was also sub-editor to me. So all of us, we did the page layout and everything. So that's how it went, that I used a word, rather we created a new word called Rekhaka, like Lekhaka. Lekhaka we use for writers. So line drawings are Rekhakaru. So why should you not call them Rekhakaru? So, and I have, for me that itself is an imagery, like some people look, for me, some people look like line drawings, people themselves. Some people look like watercolors. Some people look like oil paintings. Some people look like murals. Some people look like installations. Don't ask me why, how, and all that. See, these are all personal, visual, comprehensions. So it all comes from various, ಶಾಪಗಳಿಂದ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಇದು. ಏನೇನೋ ಅನುಭವಗಳಿಂದ ಆಗುವಂಥದ್ದು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿ ಈ ಮಾತು ಮುಗಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ದೆನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಐ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಡೂ, Vivek continued with Deshakala in a different format.
Actually, I mentioned how when now we have become islands, there is hardly any interaction between various arts practitioners. In olden days, authors were a part of exhibitions and music performances and vice versa. You know all the stalwarts in Kannada who have written about art in Kannada, like Shivram Karan, DVG, Anakru, you were talking about them. Can you remember?
Yeah. I mean, like, art was not like a specialized skill or you need a... Like, some people ask me some question like, you are a biochemist, still you write. How is it possible? Like, you are a artist, still you... This. How is... I don't know how... I don't understand that question, you know, like...
No, actually, I got so many phone calls saying that 2 Kannada poets, are you really going to talk about art? That too in English, can you do it? So I think you also got a call saying, can you talk in English? Because both of you are Kannada poets.
Yeah.
So take us through your involvement with the Mumbai Art Plaza movement. I want you to talk about Ara and Keshanai and Rao Bale and art galleries and the Irani restaurants.
Yeah, I will
Please.
tell them. Yeah. And first of all, the DVG, BGL Swami, V. Sitaramaya, even my father, they have written about art so much. I mean, philosophy of art, what is art, and we'd call... See, ultimately for them, rasa, we use that word rasa, you know, rasa siddhanta, rasa theory, rasa mimamsa. DVG has a lovely, I don't know whether it is DVG or Putina, I mean, one of them. He says, Antarangada vikasadinda untaguva bhavotkarshave rasa. Such well said thing. Mat ududda thermodynamics ilve illa adralli. Very simple. The, you know, amplification of emotion, which is caused by the evolution of evolution, correct alva? English, correct? Evolving of your mind. Antarangada vikasadinda untaguva bhavotkarshave. It happens only when you evolve. And when I say that unsayable, that space, no, it's something to do with that. So one more thing is, I will add it now only. Later on I will forget and I will repent after going home. I was telling it to my daughter while coming. Talent may be outstanding. Talent may be exclusive. But unless it is a part of collective evolving, it has no value for me. There is a collective evolving, you know, there is a collective evolving. There is a collective mind, you call it whatever, there is a collective mind. So individual evolving and collective evolving, they have to sync. So ಅದು ಒಂಥರ ಈ ಹೋಟ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋ ಲಡ್ಡುಲ್ಲಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ದ್ರಾಕ್ಷಿ ಇಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಹಂಗಲ್ಲ ಅದು. ಅದು ಹಿಟ್ಟಲ್ಲೇ ದ್ರಾಕ್ಷಿ ಬಂದರೆ ಬರಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅದು ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. ಸೊ ಅಂದರೆ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ evolving and going beyond it. I mean, like, it is not a LIC agency, nindeštaitu, nandeštaಯ್ತು. It's not that. So that's the thing. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಯು ಸಿ, ಅದೇ BGL ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಅವರು ನೀವು ಸಸ್ಯ ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಅಮೇರಿಕಾ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ನೋಡಿ. ಹಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ರಿಟನ್ ದ ಏನೋ ಡ್ರಾಯಿಂಗ್ಸು ಕೃಷ್ಣಾನಂದ ಕಾಮತರ ಪುಸ್ತಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರೇ ಬಿಡಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಅವರೇ ಬಿಡಿಸೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಉಳಿದವರಿಗೆ ವಿ ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯ ಕೂಡ he had so much of knowledge. And my father had written in 1950s about Mozart, ಆಗಿನ ಕಾಲದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆರ್ಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಗೌರೀಶ್ ಕಾಯ್ಕಿನಿ ಅವರು. ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು ಅವರಿಗೆ? ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಹೌ, whatever is required to evolve as a collective mind, they were interested in. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಬಾಂಬೆಗೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಎ ಬಿಗ್ evolving space for me, because suddenly I was there in a place where weekends we could go to art galleries and Kalaghoda area. So many art galleries were there. There was Artist Center. There was Jagir Art Gallery, of course, was there. And one of our friends, one Mr. Kamalaksha Shanai, he is from basically from Udupi, but he was in Bombay. Very simple man. He was in Shantiniketan long ago. He studied, and they influenced me a lot. Kamalaksha Shanai, another person is Raubail. He is very well known, but very low key person. He was, genius according to me. So both of them. So Kamalaksha Shanai was there. He was part of that artist center where Ara was there. So he said, see, all little elite people, they can sell their works in air-conditioned galleries. What about poor artists who come from Nasik, who come from Murud, who come from Kolhapur? Where will they go? So why can't they exhibit on the footpath like a hawker? So why can't do that? So Ara did an experiment. One day I think he just some hundreds of watercolors he did, and then 2 days they stood there, and 100 rupees prize they put, and Ara he signed, and people came, and Ara was a big name then, and art buyers came and they were very embarrassed. Ara's name and only 100 rupees. That too on footpath. It was all a very bizarre and absurd situation for them. Then they were sold. Then slowly, there was one municipal commissioner called Tinaikar. So Tinaikar was very helpful. He said he enmarked that area, that footpath for Art Plaza. So now also it is going on. And that Kamalaksha Shanai, he was not married, he was a bachelor. He took care of it. He was every day he used to sit there, and we were going there whenever because we were all in our jobs. He gave us all the tips, small tips about the big cities. Like he will always say, Irani hotel he introduced, he will always say, never order beer, never take beer in white bottle. Take beer only in brown bottle, because the white ones are always duplicate, he used to say. I don't know who taught him. These are all the secrets of cities, And he will never allow me to pay. He will pay. It is such, and he lived in a very meager. He used to do illustration for a Navneet digest of Gujarat, and K.K. Habbar and Shivram Karant. They were very close friends. Whenever Shivram Karant came, he used to stay with K.K. Habbar's house in Kalanagar. So K.K. Habbar ji will come to Karnataka Sangha function. So I am very happy to meet Habbar's children here. So, and I remember ಯಕ್ಷಗಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊದಲು ಹೆಣ್ಣು ವೇಷಕ್ಕೆ ಗಂಡು ವೇಷಕ್ಕೆ ಇದಿದೆ ಪಗಡೆ ಇದೆ, ನೀವು ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ದಟ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಗೇರ್. ಹೆಣ್ಣು ವೇಷಕ್ಕೆ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಕೆ.ಕೆ. ಹೆಬ್ಬಾರ್ ಡಿಸೈನ್ಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಇವನ್ ಹೆಣ್ಣು ವೇಷ ಕೂಡ ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಸಣ್ಣ ಪಗಡೆ ಥರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪಗಡೆ ಅಂತೀವಿ, ತುರಾಯಿ ಅದಕ್ಕಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದು. ಸೊ ಈ ಥರ ಕಮಲಾಕ್ಷಿ ಶೆಣೈ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕಮಲಾಕ್ಷಿ ಶೆಣೈ ಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಿ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಮೈ ಭಾವನಾ. ರಾವ್ಬೈಲ್ ವಾಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಲೈಕ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್. He was a mimicry artist actually. You can't believe, when you meet him, he will be very quiet. But he used to be very famous mimicry artist. And he was regularly doing cartoons for Daily, Blitz, Debonair, all those magazines. Then he came to Dharwad in, I think, 80s. And he stayed there. Then he came here. He had typical collage art he was very famous for. And he was very special. He never, he never talked about his art. See, that is the essence. He never talked about his art. See, we talk so much about our art. See, he never. So, like I said now, there is no meaning. There should not be me also.
There should be experience.
So I brought, and he used to, his envelopes were very famous. He used to send envelopes with collage art. So much so, many postmen didn't deliver them at all. They used to keep them themselves. I have brought a couple of them.
Sure, sure.
I'll show you. And I have used some of them in my book covers also. I think someone bought paint exhibitions, and didn't pay him. There are some people, I think you people might be aware, many people come and they buy paintings, then they don't pay only. At that time, you come and collect from my office, from my secretary, and all they go. Then there is no office, no secretary. So this fellow will go. Then he will start sending every day one colorful envelope, and outside writing, you have not yet paid. You have not yet paid. Huh? Yes, when will you pay? Like that. Then he came with all the envelope and payment. That also has happened. See, this is the way he used to send. This is the envelope he used to send.
Wow.
See, this is a letter he sent. This is the letter when I was in Bhavana he sent. I have used this in one of my books.
Fantastic.
See.
Very good.
Thousands of such envelopes are there in his home now. He is no more, but I think something important should be done with that. Like it's some major piece of work it is.
But actually, you are also an artist.
No.
You are also he draws extremely well, and you should.
One more incident I will tell about Rao. Because otherwise, there's an opportunity to talk about him. I would rather talk about him than me. He and Amol Palekar were friends. When Amol Palekar was not an actor, he used to come to. They were classmates in JJ School of Art. He used to come to this fellow's house, room, Rao Bail's room, and he did a portrait of Rao Bail. And in that portrait, he drew only one eye, it seems. Then Amol Palekar asked, "Are yaar, ek hi aankh? Only one eye?" He said, "Ek bahut ho gaya hai yaar." One is more than enough for you. So then this fellow did a portrait of him. And in that, he made him holding a balloon. And on that balloon, he wrote Manje. Manje means in Marathi, Andare. Means, again. Manje. Because Amol Palekar had a habit of telling Manje for every sentence, it seems, while talking. So he is going with Manje. So this kind of funny relations he had. So Rao Bail was another influence on me, and they helped me for this bhavana very much.
But
and when he gave me a lot of work. I mean, work means this thing, and he sent that envelope. No, he had written on that as Rao Trash.
Oh.
He had underlined it. It is the Rao Trash.
Actually, that reminds me when M.S. Murthy was writing sketches for the poems. I went to Lankesh Patrika, and after they used it, they had all put it as trash in the kasatbutti, in the dustbin. I picked it up. I picked up all those and came. In fact, when you said the G.K. Satya, I was always praying that he should illustrate for one of my poems, and the day he did for Prajavani, I can never forget that. Yeah. For one of my poems, he did the sketch actually. Actually, in this, there is two collages of mine that you used in Bhavana.
Yeah.
No? I find it, I'm very privileged that I'm also in this. Now let us go a little bit serious about art, okay? You told me not to ask this, but I'll just quote this. There are 4 main theories of judging whether a piece of art is successful. Imitationalism, formalism, instrumentalism, and emotionalism. That is, art is good when it imitates reality. Art is good when it masters the artistic elements and principles. Art is good when it communicates a message. Art is good when it evokes an emotional response. So what makes good art to you?
The connect, the emotional connect. I have a poem called Animisha. Animisha means ದೇವತೆಗಳು ಅನಿಮಿಷ.
Who cannot blink.
ನಿಮಿಷ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ರೆಪ್ಪೆ. ರೆಪ್ಪೆ ಇಲ್ಲದವರು ದೇವತೆಗಳಿಗೆ ರೆಪ್ಪೆ ಇಲ್ಲ.
And who cannot blink.
Who cannot, that's why they cannot blink.
Okay.
So nimisha word came from that because time to blink is 1 minute. Like ಈ ಮೀನಿಗೂ ರೆಪ್ಪೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಮೀನು is also animisha. So I have a poem called again, like we used to go to green room of Yakshagana. I used to go where Ganesha idols were being made. After August they used to being made during rainy season.
There's a story also you have written about.
No, it is a poem. Maybe
there's also in one of the Galipata. Akash Butti.
Okay, yeah, yes.
Yes.
Thank you. So there, like it's such a, inclusive activity. There is some munaf who brings that mannu, that soil. It has to come from a dried up pond because that is the softest mannu soil. He brings it, then it is done, then the murti is made, everything is done, and tomorrow is the festival, so people come. The murti is ready, but that that the drishti, that giving drishti, they keep it at the last moment.
Opening.
That kannige drishti kododu anತಾರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ. That artist will keep that moment when that person comes to receive his murti, he will give the drishti. ಆವಾಗ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ದೃಷ್ಟಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅವನು. So that moment is very interesting. I used to feel till then it is just an idol. The moment he gives that drishti, it is not a beauty spot. ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆನೇ ಇದು ಪ್ಯೂಪಿಲ್ ಅದು ಬಿಡಿಸ್ತಾನೆ ಅವನು, ಕಪ್ಪು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಅದು ಬಿಡಿಸಿದ ಕೂಡಲೇ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲೈವ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇವನು ನೋಡೋದು ಬೇರೆ. That God starts looking at him. It both ways, and if he is standing there, it looks at him also. If somebody is standing there, it starts looking at him also. And if he starts moving, it follows him also. That connect of eye to eye ideyalla adu with a piece of well drawn either one portrait or this thing, that is what it is all about. That connect will be there wherever you go. I am not talking about badly done portrait, ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾನು. ಆ ಪೋರ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಂದು ಬೇರೆ ಚಾಪ್ಟರೇ ಇದೆ ಅದು. ಅಂತಾರೆ ಶಿವರಾಮ್ ಕಾರಂತರಿಗೆ ಯಾರೊಬ್ಬರು ಅವ್ರದ್ದೇ ಪೋರ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್ ತಗೊಂಬಂದ್ರಂತೆ. ತಗೊಂಬಂದು ಸರ್ ಆಟೋಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಂತೆ. ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅವರು. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಿತ್ತು ಪುಣ್ಯಾತ್ಮ. ಸರ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಸಂದೇಶ ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂದ. ಅವರು ಇದರಂತೆ ಆಗಲು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡು. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನೋ ಡಿಸ್ಟಾರ್ಷನ್, ಸರಿಯಲಿಸಮ್ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇರೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೋದು ನಾವು. ಅದು ಸೊ ಅದು ಬೇರೆ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದು ಬೇರೆ. ಬಟ್ ನಾ ಹೇಳೋದು ಅದು ಒಂಥರ ಒಂದು ಸಜೀವವಾದ ಅಲಯವಾದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಇರಲಿ. ಸೊ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದೊಂದು ವಿಂಡೋ ಥರ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ವಿಂಡೋ.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿನೂ ನಿಮ್ಮ ರೇಖಾಚಿತ್ರದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಸಿ ಈವನ್ ನಾವು if he has to say thank you, ಅದು ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಮೇನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. He draws 2 fish. No, whenever he writes something, there will always be a picture. So talk about your line drawings. And there is one cover page he did for my book. You can see it in this, the blue one with fish. It's in this.
Actually, that I think that you used whatever.
Yeah, okay. He sent me a lot of drawings and I used one for my book.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever fish mean-minded ನಾನು. Whatever fishes I had sent in various letters, she compiled it and used it. Tell me, anything else you have?
Yeah. I have thoughts. I thought you were talking. Okay. This is a very tricky thing. I don't know how he is going to answer. For all that popularity, success, influence he has achieved, you often describe yourself, I will not address it to him, I will tell you. He often describes himself as a yatana jivi, a tormented soul. Anta.
No, yeah, who said it?
Yeah, you have always said that. Though personally I don't see
anybody agree?
No, I don't see any yatana in Jayant's life, because I always tease him that success is his definition actually. Starting from his first book got Karnataka Sahitya Academy Award, that too when he was only 18 or 19. Every exam he wrote, he emerged as a rank holder. Every book he wrote is a success. Every job he applied was his. And every girl who read his poetry and short stories fell deeply in love with him. So the entire Karnataka. And every story he writes is a masterpiece. And he shifted ways from Mumbai to Bangalore and became an instant star overnight. Every song he writes is a chartbuster. Okay, I can go on like this. But I am very curious. Now is the question. You are a gentleman author. Okay. I say this because I'll tell you.
You say this?
See, let me deviate a little bit, and this is my thought. I want to refer to the shock art, because we are talking about art, and we also follow a little bit of art world. Let me talk about this shock art, because sometime back I had to write an article about shock art. What they call the super realism. Like, for example, Australia's Herman Nietzsche's performance of slaughtering a bull in Tasmania at a dark mofo festival, and the controversy surrounding it. They brought a bull into the gallery and slaughtered it as art, performance art. And Ivan Duran's butcher shop and pig's heads exhibition, where he literally put a pig's head, slaughtered, and the slaughtered cow happening, or the shamans who are brought into the galleries to perform witchcraft or ritual art, or even IYY breaking a Han Dynasty urn and filming it, or nearer home the Kerala activist Rehana Fatima's video of children painting on her nude body, or the menstrual art movement, or the queer art, all generally described as terrible art. There's so much discussion about this, whether the art can go to that extreme, and some strongly supporting it, some questioning it, some totally condemning it. And if we talk about the equivalent of it in the literary world, where to shock is the intention, if you're writing to shock, especially with women, to freely express sexuality continues to be termed as bold or shocking and attracts attention. So sometimes if you write like that, they say that it only has the shock value. So, now, this question is for you. Your writing evokes empathy and deep emotions, but you never shock.
Mm-hmm.
Comment.
Mm-hmm. What will I say about it? But I will tell you, my shock was,
Yeah.
because I should tell what really shocked me. Again, I will go to my childhood. It might be very, very contradictory to the real shocking thing which you have said.
Okay.
Like Animisha, I said, no? Gods are Animisha. Same way, gods don't sweat, it seems. ದೇವರಿಗೆ ಬೆವರೇ ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಅವನು ಆ ಗರ್ಭಗುಡಿಲಿ ಹಾಗಿರ್ತಾನೆ ಪಾಪ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು. ಸೊ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬೆವರೇ ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ಮೀ ದ ಶಾಕ್ ವಾಸ್ ವೆನ್ ಐ ಸಾ ಯಕ್ಷಗಾನಸ್ ಈಶ್ವರ ಸ್ವೆಟ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಸೋ ಮಚ್. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ we are sitting in the front. And in my mind was ki gods don't sweat, and their makeup is all going down, and this thing, and see, again, we are talking about art. That's why I'm telling, these kind of things which connect us back to the reality. Then we said, no, this is not that. This is our Ishvara. It's like ಜಾತ್ರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಶಿವ ಅಂತ ಸವಿತಾ ನಾಗಭೂಷಣ ಪೋಯಮ್ ಇದೆ, ಲವ್ಲಿ ಪೋಯಮ್. ಸೊ ಆ ಥರ ಅದು. ಸೊ ವಿ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಅವರ್ಸ್. ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತೇವೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ ಶಾಕ್, ನನಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆನೇ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಎನಿಬಡಿ ಶಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಷನಲಿ.
ಇಲ್ಲ, because I wanted to connect because of this shock art movement that is happening globally, and it is one part of it, not that everybody is supporting it, but still it is happening. So there is also poetry that wants to have the shock value. Like, you know what I mean. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿದ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. Okay, I want to ask you, like you paint or sculpt with words because you're a poet. Your poetry is art. No, we can actually visualize it. So can you share some impulsive thoughts in general about art and poetry? How do you connect art and poetry?
ಅದು ಎಂಥದ್ದೇನು ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ಹಾಗೇನಿಲ್ಲ. ಸಮ್ ಇಮೇಜಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ you, whatever is in your subconscious mind, see you, for a poet it will come as a visual imagery through words. For a painter it might come as a color. ನಾವು ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಅನ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ, we become so literal. ಕಾಲ ಅಂದ್ಕೂಡಲೇ ಪಕ್ಷಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬಿಡೋದು. ಕಾಲದ ಹಕ್ಕಿಯು ಹಾರುತ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ. ಅದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು ಪೋಯಟ್ರಿಲ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟು, ಬಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ವಿಜುವಲ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಕುಡ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್. ಇನ್ ಎ ಪೇಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಕುಡ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್. It could be a color. Even sunset, sunrise. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕೋಸ್ಟ್ನವರು ನಾವು, ನಮಗೆ ಸನ್ಸೆಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ ಇನ್ ಇದು ಸಮುದ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ. ಸನ್ರೈಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಗುಡ್ಡಗಳ ನಡುವೆ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಗುಡ್ಡಗಳ ನಡುವೆ ನೋಡಿದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೆ ನಾವು ಸನ್ರೈಸ್ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಬಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಕೋಸ್ಟ್ನವರಿಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸನ್ರೈಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ ಸಮುದ್ರ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸನ್ಸೆಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ ಗುಡ್ಡ. ಸೊ ಈ ಥರ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ದೇ ಚೇಂಜ್. ಈ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ನಂದು ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ಅದು ಅನಾರ್ಕಲಿಯ ಸೇಫ್ಟಿ ಪಿನ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂತು ಕತೆ.
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೇ
ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಸೇಫ್ಟಿ ಪಿನ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂತು ಅದನ್ನು 2-3 ಕಡೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಐ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್. ಇದು ನನ್ನೊಬ್ಬಳು ಪುಟಾಣಿಯ ಅಭಿಮಾನಿನಿ ಒಬ್ಬಳಿದ್ದಾಳೆ ಹುಡುಗಿ. ಅವಳು ಶಾಲೆಗೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ಅವಳಿಗೆ ದ್ರೌಪದಿಯ ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಸೀರೆಯ ಪಾಠ ಇತ್ತಂತೆ ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಅದನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿಕೊಂಡು ಆ ಪಾಠ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಂದು ಮನೆಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾಳೆ ಅವಳು. ಮನೆಗೆ ಬಂದು ಅಮ್ಮನ ಹತ್ರ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಏನಮ್ಮ ದ್ರೌಪದಿಗೆ ಕಾಮನ್ ಸೆನ್ಸೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರು. ಯಾಕೆ? ಅವಳು ಸೇಫ್ಟಿ ಪಿನ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಂಡಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ? ತುಂಬ ಅರ್ನೆಸ್ಟಾಗಿ ಕೇಳಿದರು. ನನಗದು ದಟ್ ಹಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಮಿ. ಐ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು ನೋಡಿ, ಆ ಸೇಫ್ಟಿ ಪಿನ್ನು, ದಟ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಬಿಕೇಮ್ ಸೋ ಪೊಟೆಂಟ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕೇಮ್ಸ್ ಎ ಮೆಟಫರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಫ್ಲೈಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಒಂದು ಮಿಡ್ಲ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್, ಲೋವರ್ ಮಿಡ್ಲ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ವುಮನ್. ಒಂದು ಭಾರತ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಂತೂ ಸೇಫ್ಟಿ ಪಿನ್ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ ಮೆಟಫರ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಆ ಚೂಪು ಅದು ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ನಮ್ಮ ಆ ಸೋ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಮಂಗಳ ಸೂತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ವಜ್ರವೈಡೂರುಗಳಿಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸೇಫ್ಟಿ ಪಿನ್ನೇ ಇರೋದು. ಸೊ ಅದು ಆ ಸೇಫ್ಟಿ ಪಿನ್ನಿನ ಒಂದು ವಿಸ್ತಾರ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗ್ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಥರ. ಸೊ ಅದ್ರ ಹಿಂದೆ ನನ್ನಿಂದ ಇಡೀ ಕಥೆಗೆ ಬಂತು. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹಿಂದೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೆನಪಾಯಿತು. ಹಿಂದೆ ಇದು ಮಧುಬಾಲ ಡಾನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದದ್ದು, ಮುಘಲ್ ಆಜಮ್ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಹಾಡಿದೆ, ಐ ಫಾರ್ಗಾಟ್. ಪ್ಯಾರ್ ಕಿಯಾ ತೋ ಡರ್ನಾ ಕಿಯಾ ಅದು ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಟೂ ನೈಸ್ ಎ ಸಾಂಗ್, ಪ್ಯಾರ್ ಕಿಯಾ ತೋ ಡರ್ನಾ ಕಿಯಾ. ಅದಾದಮೇಲೆ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ಫೇರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂ ಇತ್ತು. ಅವಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೊಗಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಆಗ ಅವಳು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಂತೆ, ಮಧುಬಾಲ, ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹೊಗಳ್ತೀರಿ ನೀವು, ಬಟ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಟಫ್ ಟೈಮ್. ದೇರ್ ವೇರ್ 97 ಸೇಫ್ಟಿ ಪಿನ್ಸ್ ಗಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಮೈ ದಟ್ ಫೋಲ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈ ಇದು ಅಂತ ಫ್ರಾಕ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಮೈ ಓನ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಆ ಥರ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ತದ್ದು. ಹೀಗೆ ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದು ಕಷ್ಟ. ಅದು ಈ ಥರನೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದು. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಬಟನ್ ಮೊಲ ಅಂತ ಒಂದಿದೆ ನಂದು.
ಬಟನ್ ಮೊಲ, ಐ ವಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಯು ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಟ್.
ಬಟನ್ ಮೊಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಬಟನ್ ರ್ಯಾಬಿಟ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಈಗೆಲ್ಲ ಭಾಳ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಅಕ್ಕಂದಿರು, ಅಮ್ಮಂದಿರು, ದೊಡ್ಡಮ್ಮಂದಿರು, ಚಿಕ್ಕಮ್ಮಂದಿರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಈ ಬಟನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಗುಂಡಿ, ಅದನ್ನೇ ಹೊಲಿದೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಕಸೂತಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಮೊಲ, ನವಿಲು ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಮನೆಯಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮನೆಗೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೋಗೋದು, ಒಂದು ಅದರಲ್ಲೇ ಅಲ್ವ ಅದು, ಅಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಬೇರೆ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗೋದು ಬೇರೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟು. ಮನೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಮನೆಯಿಂದ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಮನೆಯಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗುವಾಗ ಟೆಂಪೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರಂಕು, ಬಾಂಬೆ ಮನೆಗಳು ಮಿನಿಮಲಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್. ಬಾಂಬೆ ಮನೆ ಸಣ್ಣದು ಪಾಪ, ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗೆ ಸ್ಪಿರಿಚುವಲ್ ಸಿಟಿ ಅದು. ತುಂಬ ಮಿನಿಮಲಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಏನೂ ಇರಲ್ಲ, ತುಂಬ ಮಿನಿಮಲಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಬಕೆಟು, ಒಂದದು ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು, ಒಂದು ಮಿನಿ ಟೆಂಪೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರುವಾಗ ಆ ಬಟನ್ ಮೊಲನೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಒಂದಲ್ಲಿ. ಅದು ಇದೇ ಟೈಮು ನನಗೆ ಓಡ್ ಹೋಗೋಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ಮುರಿದು ಓಡೋಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಅದರಿಂದ. ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಪೋಯಮ್ ಅದು. ಬಟ್ ಆ ಬಟನ್ ಮೊಲ ಅದನ್ನು ಯಾರು ಹೊಲಿದಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದನ್ನು ಹೊಲಿದಂಥ ತಾಯಿಯಲ್ಲಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಅದೊಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಜಿಜ್ಞಾಸೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಹೀಗೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದೊಂಥರ ಆ ರೀತಿ, ಅಂದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಮೇಜರಿ ಮತ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಂದರೆ ನೀವು ಆರ್ಟ್ ಹಂಗಲ್ಲ, ಆರ್ಟ್ ಇಮೇಜರಿ ಅವು ಇಮೇಜರಿ ಹೌದು, ಆದರೂ ಇದರ ಒಕ್ಕಣಿಕೆ ಬೇರೆ, ಅದರ ಒಕ್ಕಣಿಕೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
See, all that you spoke about till now is about the poetry and the literary works. Supposing I ask how you connect your film song lyrics to art, andre in a broader sense, how would you connect, would you like to call them as part of the art? Yakandre cinema is an art, photography is an art, and what about your lyrics?
It is in a heart actually. It's only love songs there, nothing else. They want only love songs, either a first song or two songs, separation song. So most of them are love songs, romantic songs. So now I have become specialist in separation songs. I don't know why.
No, Male Kavi, rain song.
Yeah, rain is over now. Rain is over. So, and see, visual thing is different. So I have to ask them whether it's daytime shooting, nighttime shooting. Because if it is daytime shooting, I cannot write moon and all that, Chandra, Gendra. So it's difficult. So I have to ask their shooting plan. And see, and again, I will go back to the film influences. I was always fascinated by title cards of old films. Even banners like V. Shantaram's Raj Kamal banners, you know. One lady will be there, her jade, there will be flowers, you know, flying away. Then Padmini Pictures, Pantulu, then, you know, all these had typical. And some banners gave us assurance, next 2.5 hours, aram se. You don't have to do anything, just enjoy. That's the kind. And then title cards. Title cards, V. Shantaram was very special. His first film, I think, Geet Gaya Patharon ne. There, at that time only, we thought Sippi gang discovered Ramnagar. No, Geet Gaya Patharon ne. Titles were written on, each title was written on different stones of Ramnagar at that time. That's one thing. Then there was another film called Boonjo Bangai Moti. There also he wrote each title on each shell opening like this. So he was, they tried. And even Vijayanand was trying all those things. In one of his films, which flopped, I don't remember, there, a railway track, you know, the fish plates used to call wooden. They had written this thing on that, titles on that, and then they have taken this thing. So it was very fascinating. And of course, Bond people, Bond films were always fascinating. And Casino Royale is my favorite, where they used this spit playing cards motives as this thing. Only for that purpose I had seen that film twice. Only for this thing. Luckily now you can see them on YouTube. And there is one I request you all to see today after going home. V. Shantaram's Stree. There is a film called Stree. It's about Shakuntala. That's Stree title song. You put Stree title song. Just a title track. There is a Hindi song which talks about one Kamal. Then he says Chand. One Chand comes. Then he says something else. See, some 5 things he tells. Then suddenly end, they all merge and the letter Stree comes. It is something amazing. You all must see today. Because how much, see, there is the effort of an artist there, there is an effort of a lyricist there is an effort of a director there. So, I don't know from where I went where.
No, you're going back to the design art and the commercial art.
No, you asked me something.
Okay.
But
No, it's okay. You answered it.
Yeah.
Now, actually, I have more questions, but I want to break the monotony and throw open to you for asking questions. So, if anybody wants to ask question, please, there's a mic. If you have some points that I have not touched upon, you can continue till they form the question. Yes.
I will. Yeah, tell me please.
Kaikini sir, I am very happy to listen your words. I don't think whether it is appropriate to ask you or not, but I will make this one. I am a good enjoyer of old English Western musics, and many times I will read the reviews and other things. In one review which I read, I asked so many senior people, but nobody got me any answer to that at all. Regarding Jerry Goldsmith music, somebody has given his version that he is a master musician. He moves from silence to violence within 7 seconds. That's all what I have read. But I cannot put any idea of what is the relevancy of those words and lines, and nobody guided me. I think you are capable of explaining a little bit if you are aware regarding these things.
Sorry, sir, I can't make out.
As you are related with film industry, I thought
No, I'm not.
you are ingeniously that music, words and scenes and other things.
No.
It's okay.
So there are a lot of modern versions also of that actually. There are several videos if you see, the reels that are coming off from the films, how they show an actor in split second how they turn from being a very innocent and harmless thing to suddenly becoming violent. Now it is not very rare now these days. 7 seconds. In fact, couple of days back I saw an actor's such a video.
And
Where instantly they turn.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Another one point I wanted to tell was, nowadays I have seen of late, not a complaint, but my observation, many people are, because now the designing has become very easy because of computer and all, what you call,
Any digital media.
digital tuck. So poetry is treated like a text, just a text of design. Like poetry, if poetry is, cannot be done with a central alignment. Poetry has to be left aligned because it is written with a pause. The poet comes to that point because there is a mental pause to come there. No, poetry is typed as if it's a wedding card for a reception. Only thing is bride and bridegroom's name is not in big letters. See, no. And another thing is, I can understand images like evocative images somewhere connecting to the ethos or, surrealism, or whatever it is, here, there, somewhere. But just because they are available on a computer, mindlessly, bees, birds, flowers, everywhere, every page is full of designs, poetry page. Yeah. They think poetry means design. That is killing the unsaid of the poetry. I always feel unsaid of the poetry is connected to the whiteness of the paper. ಧ್ವನಿ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಕರಿತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಪೋಯಿಟ್ರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಧ್ವನಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅವ್ಯಕ್ತ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಕರಿತೀನಲ್ಲ, ಅನಿರ್ವಚನೀಯದ ಧ್ವನಿ, ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ವೈಟ್ನೆಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪೇಪರ್. More you fill that whiteness, more you distract the whiteness with the designs, you are spoiling that visual silence. So that is now being disturbed. I can understand the preliminary pages. It is like showing, when you, initially when you, before seeing the film, you do a lot of gimmicks to enter. That's fine. But once the poetry, you go inside, it should be just pure poetry, nothing else, the text-wise. That's what. And I remember my mama. I acknowledge him wherever I go and talk. He was fond of handwriting always. He was fond of, he wanted us to write in a very, handwriting was very particular. It should be good. And he will give us full marks even if answers were wrong, if handwriting is good. He was so we thought it is easier to do good handwriting than to study well and write correct answers. So it was so much tricky. But then he used to do another thing. He used to give us a white paper in the starting of the semester. He will give us a white paper, which we have to bring every day to the school. Whenever he asks, we should give them. And it is surprise. He might ask, he might not ask. And he might ask somebody, he might not ask somebody. And when he asks, he will see it and he will give it back. And at the end of the year, he will look at it. Depending upon its cleanliness, he will give a mark. See how we have maintained it for the year. See, that was something that has come in one of my stories. I think Mogriya Satsanga, I think some Kaka comes. Or maybe Drishti Bottu. There he comes. I think so. In one of the story, I brought that element. So that has something to do with that whiteness of watercolors. In watercolors, all painters know watercolors. What that white you leave there is the life of a watercolor painting. That white, that's the wet white of that color. Sorry if I am wrong. I might be sounding very, very childish and very amateurish. You are all masters here. Same way, this white, that white paper. So poetry book, I think, should be just poetry, nothing else. And that alignments. Even invitation card of musical events, you see, already noise starts. You said no, noise to music to violence starts there only. Within 7 seconds. Mridangam, big mridangam will be there. Violin, this much big violin will be there. I mean, people have there is some aesthetic. Just because, abundance is killing everything. There is abundance and easiness of imagery. So there is no space for imagination, there is no space for seeking, there is no space for something, looking for something. So that's what it is.
That reminds me, B.V. Karant, he used to say the actors must decorate the stage. So he always had minimal stage decor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Sir, I don't know if it's a question or it's an observation. ಅದು ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರೈಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. ಬಟ್ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ನೀವು ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಪೋಕ್ ನಾವು ಅಬೌಟ್ ಸಮನ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಪೋಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಿ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಪೇಪರ್, ಹಾಳೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್. I think it's you basically summed up a particular form called calligram for us. Like ನಾನು ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಕ್ಯಾಲಿಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. I think it was like a quick master class on that. Anyway, after saying that, sir, what I always find about your writings is they're mostly driven by observation, and there is a lot of observation in it. ಈಗ ನೀವು ಅಮೆಚೂರ್ ಥಿಯೇಟರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಕಪ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ನ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಕನ್ನಡಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಮೂಲ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀರ, ಬಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕನ್ನಡಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಲ್ಲ. I mean, I've observed this in most of your writing. Is it a very conscious act of looking at the form? How is that?
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಬರೆಯುವಾಗನೇ ಅದು ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ವೈಲ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್. ಅಂದರೆ ನೋಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಆ ಥರ ನೋಡಲ್ಲಲ್ವಾ. ಸಿ ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್. maybe you are trying to, while writing, you start from that line. I mean, like, ಅದೊಂಥರ ಇಂಪಲ್ಸಿವ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟ್ ಅದು ರೈಟಿಂಗ್. ನಮಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗೆ ಬರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಆದರೆ ಅಗೇನ್ ಐ ಗೋ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಕೀಪ್ ಟೆಲಿಂಗ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಟೈಮ್. we belong to that category of writers like Chittal who say, I don't write what I know, I write to know. So writing is a mode of thought for us. Like painting is a mode of thought for you. It's your mode of thought. So that's how it is. I think so. Thank you.
No, I don't read Kannada, so I really don't know. But from what I heard today, you talked of the unsayable, so it means your poetry has a lot of meanings and double meanings, a lot of in thought in it. But somehow I felt the design or the illustration would not match your depth of intelligence or knowledge or your expression. Because, I'm talking as a person who's viewing only the painting. And I felt it was too illustrative and it is more on the superficial. So it doesn't give deeper meaning and the abstract element is missing. So I do not know how you allowed so many books to go through with what I'm watching, very few of them have a little deeper significance. What made you pick up just any illustration and...
No, it's a magazine, so where you have to work out a collective experience. So it was not a book like that, it was a magazine, monthly magazine. So there were so many stories, so many poems. So there was a collective sensibility working there.
If I may answer that, that is exactly what he meant when he said that he didn't have a regular illustrator who would read the story and illustrate for that, interpret. He didn't do that. He got artists. So the illustrations are independent of the writing. See, when he used one of my collages, it was not written for the story. He felt that the illustration itself is independent, it has meaning. So all the paintings or the illustrations he has used are not made for that. So they have
independently sent.
Yeah.
And I just disconnects to this. So I put it like that.
No, this thought came to me because you spoke of Hebar and Karanth.
Yeah.
And when Karanth designed for science and all, my father said it's just terrible. You cannot put a knowledge in such a book and put an illustration of simple forms. It should have a deeper meaning because this is not a book which is just to be flipped through, but to be studied. Yeah. So anything that has to be studied or to be learnt has to have a deeper meaning.
Yeah.
And so somehow I feel that the way you talk, unfortunately I don't read Kannada, but the way you talk and the amount of knowledge that you go, that means every word in your poetry has a lot of meaning, a lot of thought behind it. And I would like you to pick up a painting which would have that abstract element which would have gone beyond the visual and gone behind and understood you as you thought about it.
Okay.
That I found was missing.
Thank you.
Ma'am, there are illustrators who have that.
Yeah.
That's
One
what I was
minute,
going to
I'll-
say. Some
I
of
will-
our illustrators are, there is that deep meaning and independent existence of that particular drawing. Yeah.
Yeah, for example, I will show you. I may look like a magician now. I brought some books because where I have used those collage art of Rabail, my friends, I have used randomly which suited my book. See, this is for my play. This I used from Rabail because I thought it will suit my play. This is Rabail's one of the art. This I used for this. Then this is from Iqbal Ahmad. This is again a woodcut painting he had sent, which I used. Then again, these are all Rabail's those stamp, envelope art. We just used them.
As cover designs, yes.
Yes.
They make a lot of statement.
Yeah. But inside, I don't
Ah.
use at all. Poetry collection will never ever have design inside.
No, I'm talking of whatever this
That is magazine.
the screens and the they are magazines.
They are magazines. Bhavana is a magazine.
Okay.
It's a magazine. This is again, I showed one envelope, no? The same I used here. And that Kamalaksha Shanai, I told you, and Rabail, they both once wanted to experiment screen printing. At that time, screen printing was new. So on their terrace, they thought they will design my Koti Tirtha cover page. And they did. And they were printing and they put it for drying. And like papad, happada. And me and my friends were waiting because 2 crows were waiting there. I still remember. They thought it is a new kind of papad. So I remember this version is not available. This was that papad, that screen printing thing. In fact, our size was wrong. So K.V. Suparnaji had to cut the borders of the book because this size was wrong. So this is the latest one, Anarkali safety pin. This is again his collage art, Rabail's. This is that art plaza where any artist can come and show his art on outside Jahangir Art Gallery. So I had taken this picture from there. So these are the things.
Nice.
Sorry if
Very colorful.
I think.
Any more questions?
Yes, please.
Sir, great musicians pass on music classes, music pass on painters classes, atara. Poetry atara madakagata illa. You cannot try anybody or is it
ಅಲ್ಲ ಪೋಯಿಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಲಕಿಲಿ ಏನು ಅಂದರೆ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗಲ್ಲೇ ರೀಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬೆಸ್ಟು. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಆದರೆ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ನೋ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಓನ್ಲಿ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಯಾವ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಓದಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯಾರನ್ನಾದರೂ ಕೇಳಿಕೊಂಡು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ನಾನ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಫಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಗುರೂಸ್. ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರುತ್ತದು. ಏನಾದರೂ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆದರೆ ನೀವು ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಾನೊಂದು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಅಂದರೆ, ತುಂಬ ಈ ಫೇಕ್ ಫಾಲೋಯರ್ಸು, ಫೇಕ್ ಕಾಪಿ ಮಾಡೋರು ತುಂಬ ಜನ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಫಾರ್ ಎನಿ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ, ನಾಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. ಸೊ ಜಯಂತ್ ಕಾಯ್ಕಿಣಿ ಥರ ಬರೀಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರ ಕಾವ್ಯದ ಪದಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಂಡು ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾನು ಜಯಂತ್ ಕಾಯ್ಕಿಣಿ ಥರ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ದ ಇಮೇಜರಿ ಹೀ ಗೇವ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಹಿ ಯೂಸಸ್, ಅವ್ರ ಭಾಷೆ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್. ಬರಲ್ಲ ಅದು. ಈವನ್ ಸೀಸನ್ ಪೋಯಟ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನಾಟ್ ಕಾಪಿ ಹಿಮ್.
ಅಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ
ಹಾಂ, ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ನೋ, ಅವಾಗ ಇಫ್ ಹಿ ಟ್ರೈನ್ಸ್ ಹಿ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಅನದರ್ ಕಾಪಿ.
ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ ಅದಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಅಂದರೆ, ಈ ಹೊಸ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ನಿಗೆ ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಕಲಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಆ ಥರ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ, ಓದೇ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದು. ನಾವು ಪ್ರಜಾವಾಣಿ, ಸಂಡೇ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪತ್ರಿಕೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಆ ಕಾಲಕ್ಕೆ ಬರುತ್ತಿದ್ದ ಕವಿಗಳ ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಓದಿ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದು. ವಿ ರೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಫ್ಯೂ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ಝಿನ್ಸ್. ಅದು ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಎ ಪೋಲಿನೇಷನ್ ಥರ. ಅದು ಟಕ್ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದು ದಿವಸ ಯಾವುದೋ ಬಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಪತ್ರಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕವಿತೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ದೆನ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ರೀಡ್ ಮೋರ್. ಲೈಕ್ ಸಡನ್ಲಿ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಲೈಕ್ ಎ ಪೋಯಮ್, ದೆನ್ ಯು ರೈಟ್ ಟು ರೀಡ್ ಮೋರ್ ಪೋಯಮ್ಸ್. ಆ ಥರ ಆಗೋದು. ಅದು ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಆಗೋದು. ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಬಿಕಮ್ ಎ ಪೋಯೆಟ್ ಅಂತ ಆ ಹೊರಟ್ರೆ ಅದು ಬೇರೆ ಥರ ಅದು ರೂಟ್ ಅದು. ಬಟ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಮೊದಲು ಪೋಯಮ್ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗತ್ತೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ನೋಡಬೇಕು ಒಂಥರ. ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು ಒಂಥರ ಅದು ಈ ಕರಿಯರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಥರ ಹಂಗಲ್ಲ ಅದು. ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಬಿಕಮ್ ಎ ರೈಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅದು. ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಬಿಕಮ್ ಆವಾಗ ಅದು ಬೇರೆ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು ಅದು. ಅದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪೋಯಮ್ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ. ನೀವೊಂದು ಪೋಯಮ್ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆದಾಗ ಆವಾಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಓದಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಬರೀಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಹಾಗೆ ಸೊ ಯು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್. ನನಗನ್ಸಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡದ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಕವಿಗಳನ್ನು ಓದಿ. ಏಕ್ದಮ್ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕೆಲವು ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕವಿಗಳ ಹೆಸರು ಹೇಳಿಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ತುಂಬ ಹಳಬರಾದರೆ ಹೆವಿ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತದು. ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಒಂದು ತಲೆಮಾರು ಹಿಂದಿನ ಕವಿಗಳನ್ನು ಓದಿ. ಈ ತಿರುಮಲೇಶ್ ಅಂತವ್ರನ್ನ ಓದಿ, ಕೆ ವಿ ತಿರುಮಲೇಶ್. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳ್ಳೊಳ್ಳೆ ಕವಿಗಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಓದಿ. ಪಿ ಲಂಕೇಶ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ತುಂಬ ಪ್ರತಿಭಾ ನಂದಕುಮಾರನ್ನು ಓದಿ.
Actually, on the contrary, ನಾ ಹೇಳೋದು, why Jayant came on this poetry scene like a comet ಅಂತಂದರೆ, he was not spoiled by he is not a Kannada literature student. He is a science student. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಬಯೋಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸ್ಪಾಯಿಲ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ದಿಸ್ ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನ್. ಇವಾಗ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಗೋ ಟು ಸಂಬಡಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೇ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ರೈಟ್ ಪೋಯಮ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮೀ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಯು ಟು ರೀಡ್ ದ ಹೋಲ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಪರಂಪರೆದು ಪೂರ್ವಸೂರಿಗಳನ್ನು ಓದಿ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ. ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಯು ಟು ರೀಡ್ ದ ಎಲ್ಡರ್ ಪೋಯಿಟ್ಸ್. He was not spoiled by that. That is why he could bring in new imagery, new language, new kind of writing. See, I'm talking about 40 years ago when he started writing. It was so fresh. That is why he got the Academy Award at 18. Now if you ask, even I don't agree with what he says also. Don't read anybody, just start writing. Start writing, if it is good, people will read and say, this is very new way of writing. Because I have seen that whenever you ask somebody to read somebody and write like that, they will start copying, which we don't want. It's a very tricky thing actually.
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟು ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಎಸ್ಥೆಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಈ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆಲ್ಲೂ ಮಾತಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. ಹೌದು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಅಂದರೆ, ಅದು ವ್ಯಾಸರಾಯ ಬಲ್ಲಾಳರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು. ಅವರು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ವ್ಯಾಸರಾಯ ಬಲ್ಲಾಳರು ಎನದರ್ ಬಾಂಬೆ ಮೈಂಡ್, ಬಾಂಬೆ ರೈಟರ್, ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ರೈಟರ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಚಿತ್ತಾಲ್, ಹೆಬ್ಬಾರ್ ಥರ ಅವರು ಇನ್ಫ್ಲುಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಅವರ್ ಸೆನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ. ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದರು, ಒಂದು ಐರನಿ ಏನು ಅಂದರೆ, ಭಾರತದ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಟೆಡ್ ಮಿಡ್ಲ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಮೆನ್ ಇದ್ದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಟೆಡ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ವಿಮೆನ್ನೇ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೂ. ಬಟ್ ಕೊನೆಗೂ ಆ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರ ಶಾಕ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬರ್ ಆಗಿ ಅವರು ಡಿಸ್ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದು ಆರ್ಟನ್ನೇ ಅಂತ. ಕಸೂತಿ, ರಂಗೋಲಿ ಇವೆಲ್ಲನೂ ನೀವು ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅದು ಆರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಮುಟ್ಟುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ ಇವತ್ತು ಅದೇನೋ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಈ ಶಾಕ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬರು ಅದು ಇದು ಅಂತ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಆರಿಗೆಮಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿ ಅದು ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಆ ಕಾಲಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಆರ್ಟಿನ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಬಂತೋದು ಅಂತ, ಅಂದರೆ ತಲೆಮಾರಿನಿಂದ ತಲೆಮಾರಿಗೆ ಅಂತ ಅವರು ಭಾಳ ಒಂದು ಮನೆಯ ಸೌಂದರ್ಯ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞೆಯನ್ನು, ಒಂದು ಮನೆಯ ಎಸ್ಥೆಟಿಕ್ಸನ್ನು, ಹೇಗೆ ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಯಾರು ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ನೋವಿಗೆ ತುತ್ತಾಗಿದ್ದಾಳೋ ಅವಳೇ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕಾಪಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾಳೆ. ಅದು ಎಂಥ ಐರನಿ, ವಿರೋಧಾಭಾಸ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದರು ಅವರು. ನೆನಪಿಗೆ ಬಂತು.
ಸರ್, ಭಾವನದಂಥ ಪತ್ರಿಕೆಯನ್ನು ನೀವು ಮತ್ತೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಲ್ವ? ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿರೋ ಅಡೆತಡೆಗಳೇನು? ಯಾಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ?
ಅದು ನಂದು ಪತ್ರಿಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ನಾನು
ಅಲ್ಲ, ನೀವೇ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಲ್ವ? ನಿಮಗಿರೋ ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜು, ನಿಮಗಿರೋ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ಅಭಿರುಚಿಗೆ ಪತ್ರಿಕೋದ್ಯಮದಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಅವ್ರ ಕಾಲ್ ಶೀಟ್ಗೆ ಯು ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಮಂತ್ಸ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ವೇಟ್. ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ ವೆರಿ ಹೈ ಡಿಮಾಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇವನ್ ಸಾಂಗ್ಸ್ಗೆ.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಜಿಗೆ ಅದರದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದಕ್ಕೂ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಘಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಯಿತು. ಅದನ್ನೇ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು 3 ವರ್ಷದ ನಂತರ ನಾನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ನಲ್ಲೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಒಂದು ಟೈಮು ಆ ಹೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ನನಗೂ ಅಗತ್ಯ ಇತ್ತು ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡೋದು. ಸೊ ಅದು ಅಷ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಆಯಿತು ಅದು.
ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಪತ್ರಿಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಈಗ ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದು, ಈಗ ಮಯೂರ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ? ಮಯೂರ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಮಯೂರ ಇಸ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ವೆಲ್. ಮಯೂರ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ತುಂಬ ಹೊಸ ಹೊಸ ಲೇಖಕರು ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ
ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ವೈ ಹಿ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ಡ್ ದೇಶಕಾಲ.
ಅದೇ ಥರ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬಹುವಚನ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ಸಂಗಾತ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಪತ್ರಿಕೆಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇವೆ ಈಗ. ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ಸಂಗಾತ ಅಂತ ಧಾರವಾಡದಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಬಹುವಚನ ಅಂತ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಂದನೇ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಮಯೂರನೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅವರವರ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್. ಯಾ.
We have one more question.
Yeah.
I think this will be the last question.
Yes, yes.
ಸರ್ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಮಂಜುಳಾ ಅಂತ. ಒಂದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ಮತ್ತು ಕತೆ ಕಾವ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅರ್ಥದ ಅನ್ವೇಷಣೆ, ಅಂದರೆ ಪದದ ಅರ್ಥದ ಅನ್ವೇಷಣೆಗೆ ಜನ ತೊಡಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಒಂದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ರೇಖಾಚಿತ್ರಗಳನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಯಾರಾದರೂ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅರ್ಥದ ಅನ್ವೇಷಣೆನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಿದ್ದೇನಾ, ಅಥವಾ ನೀವೇ ಆ ರೇಖಾಚಿತ್ರಗಳನ್ನು ಬರಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥದ ಶೋಧನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಇದು ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು, ಕಲೆ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ 1000 ಪದಗಳು ಹೇಳೋದು ಒಂದು ಚಿತ್ರ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಡೆ ಚಿತ್ರಗಳು ಭಾಷೆಯನ್ನು ಮಿತಿಗೊಳಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಮಾತಿದೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ ಏನು ಅಂತ? ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಒಟ್ಟಾರೆ ಅದು ಅನುಭವಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು. ನೀವು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಅಥವಾ ಓದಿದಾಗ ನಿಮಗೇನೋ ಒಂದು ಒಳಗಿಂದ ಬೆಳೆದಂಥ ಅನುಭವ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು ಹೊಸತೇನೋ ಒಂದು ಬದುಕಿನ ಕುರಿತು ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಕಿಟಕಿ ತೆರೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವು ಈ ತನಕ ನೋಡಿದ ವಿಷಯಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಮಗ್ಗಿಲು ಕಂಡಾಗ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಅದು ಮುಗೀತು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಏನೋ ದೊಡ್ಡದೇನೋ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಹಿನೇ ನೋಡಿ ನೀವು, ನಮ್ಮ ಸಹಿನೇ ಕೂಡ, ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಹಿ ಅಂದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಪ್ರತಿ ಸಲನೂ ಆ ಸಹಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೇರೆಯಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸಿಗ್ನೇಚರು 60 ದಾಟ ಮೇಲೆ ಏನು ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಅದು ಪ್ರತಿ ಸಲನೂ ಕೈ ಅಯ್ಯಪ್ಪ ಇದು ಇವತ್ತು ಸಹಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ವೋ ಅಂತಲೂ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದು.
ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಐ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಟು ದ್ಯಾಟ್? ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಎಲ್ಲ ಈಗ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಸೋ ಮಚ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಮಲ್ಟಿಡಿಸಿಪ್ಲಿನರಿ ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಕೊಲಾಬ್ರೇಷನ್ ಈಸ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ವೆನ್ 2 different ಆರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಕಮ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಟು ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟ್ ಈಚ್ ಅದರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಈ ಕಾವ್ಯ ಬೇರೆ, ಚಿತ್ರಕಲೆ ಬೇರೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಈಗ ಕಾದಂಬರಿನ ವೆನ್ ದೇ ಮೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಅ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್, ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ criticism about it. The novel Nagarhavukka novel was good and the film was not good anta. So when you adapt literature, a written novel to a visual media, the whole language changes. So when we do it, even if I have to interpret one of his poems into visual art, then it will be my interpretation of his written words. In fact, that was one question I wanted to ask him, whether how he responds to his songs being picturized. Because what he thinks when he is writing the lyrics, and the way it is sung, and the way it is picturized. They are 3 different arts. Singing is different, writing is different, and picturizing is different. So they collaborate in such a way, they don't erase each other, but they go side by side. So you cannot say that the song is better, the lyrics is better, the picturization. When they all come together, it becomes great art collectively. That is what he is talking about, collective art anta. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks to Ananya, Drishya, Vasudev. Thank you for this. And MAP also, and thanks for the company. And I must thank Jayant Kaikine for
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು
Tolerate.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವಾಸು
Thank you.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಮ್ಯಾಪ್ ಮತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರೋ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ತುಂಬ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಎವ್ರಿ ಒನ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ಆ್ಯನ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಐ ಸೆಡ್. ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಥರ ಐ ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಆರ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕುಡ್ ಬಿ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಅವೇ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಅದು ಫೋಟೋಗ್ರಫಿಯಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಸಲ ಈವನ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ಗುಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ರಾ, ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ಗುಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ರಾ, ಹಿಂಗೆ ಹಿಡಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ವಿ ಮೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಯು ಫೋಕಸ್ ಇಟ್. ಸೊ ಆ ಒಂದು ಚಟ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು, ಆಗಾಗ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಸೊ ಆ ಥರದ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆ ಇದು ಅಂತ ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
Thank you, everybody. We also have some of the books which Jayant has written. I think 2 are in English, 2 are in Kannada. If you wish to buy them and get it signed by Jayant, you can do it. If you already have books which you would like to get signed, you can make a queue on the left side so that you don't block the way here. Thank you, everybody.